Fine, no.
Okay. Welcome back to the From the Fabricator podcast. I'm your host, Max Perlstein. Thank you so much for joining me once again. The podcast continues to grow, and I thank every one of you for listening and watching, sharing, supporting. It means a ton. Got a great one for you today. Different mix than my norm. I joked with one of my guests earlier that normally I have like that heavy focus on commercial. This time I've got I think America's best specifier, and then I think I've got one of America's best shower door people groups, shower door pair there, a father and daughter. So really excited about today's show. Talk about that more in a second. This episode, as always, is brought to you by the National Glass Association's myglassclass.com and the brand new myglassfab.com. Both are tremendous educational opportunities, 24/7, 365 online, on-demand training. Built by the NGA, built by people in this industry, for the industry. We've got classes in Spanish. We've got more than 100 courses and growing daily. So please check out myglassclass.com, and that will lead you also to the new My Glass Fab. Take a look at all of it and get trained and get your folks trained and retain those very hard to find people in your shop and in the field. Okay, today, this episode, really excited. Kick it off with Aaron Pine from Construction Specifications. I said it a few seconds ago, best specifier in the country, great guy, fun interview, covered a lot of different things and gave some really good insight. If you're a manufacturer and you want to try to get in front of that design community, Aaron was really right on top of that. And then I go to the father and daughter out of Georgia, Brad Leamon and Christina Elia of The Shower Guy. Great company. Brad bet on himself, built a beauty. Christina's come in since COVID and is just rocking. They're doing a great job. And we covered a bunch of things, including the fact that I have a crappy shower door. That and a lot of other good things. So here we go. We're going to start off with Aaron and then go to Brad and Christina. Thank you so much for listening and enjoy the show. Okay. Kicking it off for this month, I've got an extremely special guest because I'm always asked, we want to know in the mind of the specifier, the mind of the architect, and I've got one of the best in our world, quite frankly, Aaron Pine, principal at Construction Specifications. You can find them online at www.constructionspecs, and that's with an X at the end of it.com. Aaron, thank you so much for joining the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I'm thrilled. I got to hear you on another meeting. Was completely blown away. Immediately sent you an email and said, "Hey, I'd love to have you on the podcast." You graciously accepted, which I'm honored. But let's start with you so people can get to know you a little bit. Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? And how did you get into the fun world of spec writing?
Fun world. I don't know if I put it quite that way, Max. But
Yeah.
Essentially, I grew up a couple of years out in Queens, New York. Moved out to Jersey. I've been Jersey resident for over 50 years. Went to school at Penn State in Central Pennsylvania.
Yep.
And then came out and started in the contracting world.
Okay.
I was a contractor on the contracting side for about 7-8 years, out in the field every day, seeing skyscrapers built in the New York City metropolitan area. It was a great experience for me. I was born into the business.
Okay.
My father started this company in the late 60s. So If I had to guess, we're probably the longest running specification consulting firm in the United States. Probably we're definitely in excess of 50 years at this point.
Nice.
So, he reached out to me mid-90s and said, "Hey, you want to come join me?" I said, "I don't know, sit behind a desk every day dealing with architects. Nobody goes to school wants to be the next great spec writer. It's not the side of the industry that is really promoted at any university." But I joined him and, that was 25, 30 years ago.
Wonderful. I went through the same thing. I didn't want to get into the glass business and I got asked by my brother to join him and my dad. So I know the feel. And so, awesome. So again, so you're one of the, if not the longest, one of the longest running specification, consulting sort of businesses. What exactly for those who, may not have run across you and your team, what exactly does Construction Specifications do and you and your team do there?
Well, we assist the architect in preparation of specifications. Obviously, on the larger projects, specifications is part of the project manual, is part of the contract documents. The architects outsource it to us for us to prepare it under their guys so that we can document what their anticipated design will be.
Gotcha. And so I'm with Aaron Pine, Principal Construction Specifications. Find them online, construction specs, and that's with an X.com. So the big thing for those of us in the really in the building product industry, but focus more on the glass and glazing industry, we love to get our opportunity in front of people like you. But I'd like to put it to you, if what's that number one thing you wish us manufacturers would do to make your life better, more efficient, easier, so the flow can be more successful than you chasing your tail.
And to be honest, across the board, manufacturer-wise, I think the most important thing is boots on the ground. What we have run into due to COVID and other issues is a retraction of manufacturer representation in the physical representation, relying on 1-800 numbers.
Yeah.
You call in, and these are the parameters, and somebody from wherever in the country spits out, this is what you should do. In New York City, there's all these different criteria that somebody in the middle of Idaho may not know about. I mean, in our recent time here, bird-friendly glass has become a big issue.
Yeah.
If you're in the middle of Ohio, I don't think bird-friendly glass, or wherever you may be, is even on your radar. So I think there's certain parameters by which, wherever the jurisdiction of the requirements of the project is important. And I don't think somebody being out calling an 800 number knows all the parameters. The architect may not know all the questions to ask. So there's got to be a little give and take. From my point of view, I like to deal with somebody face to face, or at least have an opportunity that somebody's in the area. So if I have a question, I can call them up, and I'd like to have a relationship. And the reason being is because my clients are asking me the question as their technical resource. If I don't know the answer, I don't want to have to call an 800 number. I want to call somebody that I know that'll say, oh, Aaron's calling me. He must have a question of some importance that he can't answer. I would like to get back to him.
No doubt. And I guess, with you being in that New York area, COVID definitely decimated the on the boots, on the boots on the ground dramatically, because I know
100%.
Yeah, I know from companies that I deal with, they'll say, well, I need somebody in New York. I'm like, there's nobody. It's like, I don't know where they went. It's crazy. So I could see why you need that. And especially with what you're dealing with. You mentioned the bird friendly, which is crazy hot in New York. And then this past week, because of the owl, and there was a whole new push naming the bird friendly law after him. So that's obviously a big trend. So switching over to trends, what are some of the other trends that you're seeing, and that would be interest to my audience?
I think one of the biggest ones is probably triple glazing.
Oh,
We're
okay.
seeing a lot of that, a lot of high-rise residential, not only in the New York City area, but in the Northeast, going to triple glazing to match passive house criteria.
Yeah.
And so getting those higher performance windows, doors, curtain wall, and the glass associated with that is becoming more and more prevalent. That's probably the biggest trend. That, and the fact that I see more and more UPVC windows coming to market.
Wow.
A lot of UPVC windows.
Wow. In your backyard there, that's something that was not very big for a long, long time.
Correct. Aluminum was king.
Yeah.
And we're seeing a tremendous amount of the high-rise residential market going to UPVC when it's punched openings, not so much curtain wall, obviously, but punched openings. Yes, tremendous amount.
Wow. And with the triple glaze, one of the advantages also is the acoustic value. And so when you're in a city setting, you can't beat that knocking down of the sound that brings. So I could see that being a play too.
A lot of subways and trains.
A lot of horns, a lot of noise.
I was just going to say, correct.
Yeah,
it's not a quiet city.
It's definitely not a quiet city. Has New York Local Law 97 kicked in heavy for you? I mean, how's that all going?
It has. It depends on where the project is, whether there is a Little E designation for sound transmission. But yes, there is criteria depending on where you are located in the city. And we build everywhere. So
I was just going to say, you and your team cover the entire U.S. Do you go into Canada too, or are you just all U.S.?
We go into Canada, and we actually do work around the world. We have done work in the Middle East, and we're doing a fair amount of work for the Office of Building Overseas, OBO, where we're working currently in Vietnam, Spain, Italy, where our federal government is putting in embassies or facilities for their people.
Nice, nice. I like it. I like it. I'm lucky to have Aaron Pine, Principal of Construction Specifications, on with us today. See them online at Construction Specs, that's with an X at the end, .com. So a fun one. I like to mix it up a little bit. And curious, are you a dog person, a cat person, both, neither? Any pets, anything to brag on?
We're our family's 100% dogs.
I love it.
I
Yes.
growing up with dogs. I had two dogs up until a year or two ago. I still have one. Yes, so we're 100% dog people.
Very cool. We are too. We've got a whole gaggle full. We've got four right now.
Wow.
I'm sure there's another one coming. My wife can't resist. And that's another post-COVID thing, Aaron, is that people would adopt dogs and then they'd realize
Right.
that either they'd go back to work or they couldn't handle it. And so every time there's a dog needing adoption online, my wife is desperately trying to find it at home. And
Plenty of them that need
yeah,
it.
plenty of them. I love it. You're a dog person. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. All right, back to the quote unquote serious stuff. Your project list. When I checked out your website, I was blown away because there's so much going on there. And you do a little bit of everything. But I'm curious, and I ask this to a lot of people when it becomes like trying to decide who my favorite kid is, sort of thing. What's your all-time favorite job or two, and why? I'm curious because for some people it was the heaviest challenge we ever had and we got over the hump. And then for other people, it's like, oh, it's the biggest job in the country. But what are some of your favorite jobs of all time and why?
Some of the most notable projects probably for me are the ones that have meaning. So, for instance, the World Trade Center Memorial. We
Gotcha.
worked on that project, and
Nice.
so you see things like that. You can go visit it. You can actually touch it, walk through it, and you have a connection to that type of work. Some of the other ones, some of the more notable projects that you worked with a star architect. You had an opportunity to work on the New York Times Tower in Manhattan, for instance, or the African Art Museum down at the Smithsonian down in D.C. So there's a whole plethora of different projects we've had an opportunity that are near and dear to me, just simply because they're iconic.
Yeah.
To that end. And on the West Coast, we've worked on the Holocaust Museum out in California. So there's a plethora of projects that a lot of museums are very close, and certain homes. We've had the opportunity to work on some very 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 luxurious homes. Very large homes, and you go down and you get the opportunity to see one of these homes, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into it through the design, through the construction, but at the end of the day, to see the owner as happy as they are is nice.
And that's got to make you feel good when you're assisting in a project like that and helping to build it out, whether it's a commercial building or a home. You saw it before it was just a couple words on paper. So I mean, I think that's got to be pretty exciting for you at the end of the day because you definitely played a huge role.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting, in particular on the high end homes where you start out by seeing renders, and you're like, wow, it actually got built the way they anticipated it to be designed. So it's always interesting to see that.
I love it. And you've worked with some quote unquote star architects in your life. And so what do we call you? Your star specifiers. I got to come up with
Yeah.
a Brangelina sort of combination there.
I don't know if there's such a thing as a star spec writer. I don't think it's the glamorous side of the business.
I don't
We
know.
fly under the radar.
I don't know. You do some amazing stuff, and without you, a lot of these things don't get done. I mean, that's
Yeah,
the
I
thing.
appreciate that. I appreciate. Well, there's a community of us. I mean, I'll
Yeah.
be honest with you. In my office, there's 6 spec writers, a couple word processors, but there's an organization called Specification Consultants in Private Practice, SKIP,
Yeah.
which is a nationwide program of specification consultants, and so that runs the entire United States. Which, perhaps for your audience might be of interest, because that's those people are the ones that are boots on the ground for the architectural community.
Yeah.
They're writing specs throughout the country.
And I think that's where a lot of my audience probably misses that they're skipping over that aspect, no pun intended on the SCIP. But there's a chance there for them to get involved in that. And one of the things I always wish I could pull off is I always wanted to combine the CSI show and our glass build show and have them at
Mhm.
the same venue and have the 8,000 people that are coming to glass build and the thousands that come to CSI. And I mean, it would be such a win-win for everybody. Never been able to get
Right.
that over the hump, but you're right. That's kind of a hidden jewel there of you and everybody in your field. and you guys are leading the way, and you know so much. So that makes a lot of
Yeah, I think
sense.
it's important. I think it's important because those are the people that, the architect may say to me, well, who do you recommend as a glass, house,
Right.
or we're looking for this performance, and they're coming to me. If I have a representative from whatever glass manufacturer, they're hitting my client base. My client base at that time could be 100 different architects. So,
Absolutely.
it makes life a lot easier. Obviously, today architects are very stretched; they're very busy, so it becomes very difficult at times for manufacturers representatives to get in. But it's essential. It's essential for them to see the architects, because ultimately, at the end of the day, the glass has got a huge effect on the building, not from, let's put aside performance, but aesthetics. It's too green, it's too, we've all been through that.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh yeah. And we battle on our end. Glass obviously takes a lot of hits performance wise. So does the aluminum and so on. But then you do add the aesthetics of the too green, or the reflection, or
correct.
the inherent color, or the color shift, and things like that. It's just such an adventure, which I think both of
Yeah,
us had afros before we started to talk about that sort of thing.
yeah, I'm sure. The famous one is, oh, the glass looks wavy. Well, you had to temper it due to wind
Yeah.
load. Oh, well, what does that mean? I'm like, you're going to get some wave. That's the way it is. You can't get rid of all wave. So
Yeah.
it's, yeah, you
And
know the
especially
battle.
when they roll out to the job site wearing polarized sunglasses, and then they can see the tempering, because you can only see it on a certain way, the quench. And
Correct.
yeah, that it does. Again, those watching on YouTube will get the Afro joke. Those listening, on Apple or Spotify, trust us, Aaron and I have the same hairstyle. But a few more questions for you, my friend. Aaron Pine,
Sure.
Principal, Construction Specifications. Find them online at constructionspecs.com, and on specs, that's with an X at the end of it. Check them out. You and I met on a seminar with Ace Lab, and they're kind of an up and coming sort of group that's trying to help educate the marketplace, bringing manufacturers and architects together. Your thoughts on that sort of thing and how that's all working out? And I know boots on the ground still is the number one priority, and you said that, and I completely agree with you. But second to that, this seems like the next good step to try to communicate.
Yeah, I would agree. Ace Lab is an up and coming company. The idea behind it is that you're going to be able to, have a series of questions, respond to a series of questions, and then you'll get a direction, I'll say, to proceed. So, you're going to put 10 different characteristics of glass. The system will run and say, okay, these are the glass that will live within that range. And here's the manufacturer. And then you can in turn put the manufacturer in touch with the architect. I think what's important to understand is two things. Number one, even though the program will give you glasses, you still need, at the end of the day, a person to provide the right information into the computer system. So obviously, you're not taking the entire thought process out by the architect, but you're getting, say 80% of the way there. And then the advantage for the manufacturer is the manufacturer in turn will get information that so and so, whatever the job, and this is the architect, will get that information. So it's a two-sided affair that I think will help the market quite a bit. I think what's important is that the manufacturer understands that the architect doesn't know everything. Obviously, he's got to rely on the manufacturer somewhat, because the manufacturer, let's be honest, is the expert, because they do that day in and day out. But the architect does understand the parameters by which they need based on their design intent. And then really the program's trying to marry those two together.
Yeah, and the more we can educate, the better. And I mean, I do think that the education aspect is never going to get old. We have to stay on top of that.
100%. I agree with you 100%. And, the only way people get educated is being in the field. Let's be realistic.
Yeah,
The education system, that we have in place by colleges and universities is not getting into these minutia points
no.
as to, they're going to say, yeah, you've got to, the glass has got to have performance. So you have glass in the building and they can be different colors. But as you and I both know, there's a bunch of variables that have to be decided so that you can pick the correct glass based on your design intent.
Yeah, no doubt. And our challenge on our side is we are getting more and more new kind of investment in this industry, and they struggle, Aaron, with the fact that glass, in a building, is not all the same size. they think, oh, well, it should be 5 foot by 10 foot on every floor all the way across, or they look at a building and they think everything is the same size, but it's not. It's off a little bit in some cases, and it also takes they don't understand that the designer wants to design how they want to do it. So there's going to be different
Right.
sizes and different looks, and so education and also being out there in the field, and that's where I think you probably benefited a ton is working on the actual building before you came to work for the company. Being out
Yeah,
in
it
the field.
was 100%. I mean, it's funny because when I first joined my father, 25, 30 years ago, the idea we were approached by multiple of our clients. Well, would you do our construction administration for us? Because they knew my background, so they knew that I was in the field. So they
Yeah.
figured, okay, we can offload it to Aaron and let him do that. We never went in that direction, but it was interesting to see that the architects, in turn, you know, wanted assistance in that matter. And that's why you have CMs and contractors and owners reps and those people types.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I got one more question for you. Aaron Pine, Principal, Construction Specifications. See them online, constructionspecs.com. So let's talk about the forecast in the market. There's a group of people out there that are in survive till 25 mode. And then there's others that are doing okay. I know there's some soft spots. You're nationwide, you're worldwide. So kind of where it's good and bad. How are you feeling about the market this year? And the forecast going forward. What's the feel from Aaron Pine?
I I don't know that there is a feel out there yet. It's
Okay.
still early. You're going to be going into a cycle of election, and we all know that changes on a dime. But currently, based on what we see going forward, the contracting community, in my opinion, should be busy for a year to 2 years, definitely. And the reason I say that is because we usually typically see stuff a year and a half in advance because design is that far in front of it coming out to bid.
Right.
Over the last 2 years, we've been extremely busy. So, and that's not just here, that's across the country. Up until COVID for 40 years, we never did any advertising. COVID struck and we got concerned. The city of New York shut down. The
Yeah.
city of New York spends $11 billion a year on construction. They put stop on all their work. So we got concerned and we started a marketing platform. All of a sudden, we were getting calls throughout the country for various reasons. In turn, there was pockets that were considerably busier than, when New York City was slow or the tri-state area was slow. Florida never slowed down, really. Florida, they beat
Yeah.
to their own drum. Miami right now is building high rises like there's no tomorrow. I don't know who's going to afford all these high rises.
Yeah.
I was just down in Florida last week, spending a couple of days, and I was in West Palm, and
Yep.
there's buildings going up all over the place, and they're not cheap.
No. No. I was at
They're
a topping
beautiful
off.
places.
I was at a topping off in West Palm last year and could not
Okay,
believe the building that was going on down there. It's
yeah,
incredible.
it really is. So I think generally across the country, I think we're still going to see a strong performance, but election can change all that. Number one, financial markets can change that. Interest rates. We're very in tune with that up here in the New York City area, obviously,
Oh
because
yeah.
it's so expensive to build up here.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, this has been great. I really appreciate you taking the time because I know you are swamped. Aaron Pine, Principal of Construction Specifications. See his company and his team at constructionspecs.com. Also see them probably at the next construction specifier event, later in the year. And hopefully we can get you to an NGA, a National Glass Association event, or one of these glass industry events. I'd love to have your thoughts shared a little bit more worldwide because you're an impressive person. It's been a pleasure to get to talk to you.
I appreciate that, Max. Nice to talk to you as well.
Thank you, sir. Take care. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, this is a cool one. Father-daughter, real successful people here, and you can learn a little bit. I'm going to learn a little bit. I've got Brad Leamon, President, and Christina Elia, Director of Business Development, the shower door guy down in Georgia, correct? Georgia?
Yes.
Yeah, down in Georgia. I should have looked at that before. I assumed it. Showerdoorguy.com. Thank you, Christina and Brad, for being on the show.
Thanks for having us, Max. We're excited to be here.
I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to have you guys here. And there's just a lot to cover. And as I told you both before, you've come highly recommended because of the moves that you guys have been making. I had more than one hit me up to say, hey, you need to have these folks on the podcast. So I'm thrilled to do that. And so let's start with just talking about your past. I do this on every podcast, and I'm always fascinated because this is where I usually learn something that I totally did not expect. But let's start with both of you on your path to the wild and wonderful glass industry, shower door world. Christina, we'll start with you. How did you get into the fun business?
Yeah, good question. So I grew up with my dad doing this for the most part. So um, I went to Georgia Tech. I got a degree in industrial engineering. I went into business management consulting and revenue management consulting, supply chain, and all kinds of that stuff. So I did that for about 4 or 5 years, and my dad had always, said, "You can always come work for me. I can use some help sometimes," and it had always kind of been I was in these like, high powered roles, and I was like, so self-important or whatever. And, it was always kind of a funny joke on the holidays. And then I kind of was burning out and I needed a change, and he needed some software. And I said, I'll come work for you for a few months, and this will be nice. And we'll just get it all back together. And then I'll go off and do my own thing again. And I just never left because I ended up starting right before COVID.
Okay.
I started a week before COVID really swept the East Coast. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow. And so I will say, we have similar backgrounds, because I didn't want to be, I had no desire. People have listened to this podcast or know me. I had no desire to get in the business. And the difference between my situation and your situation, my dad never brought it up. It was my brother who constantly brought it up. It's like, hey, we could always use you. We're always here for you. Give it a shot, sort of thing. And then I did something kind of similar, where I was working in TV. My days off were Mondays and Tuesdays, and he said, just come, work for us on the days off and see if you like it. And I started there, and I've been here ever since too, in a way. So I know how it is, and I love it. You're a yellow jacket from Georgia Tech. It works, and nice background. Like having you in the industry with that background. Brad, how about you? This I'm very curious. How did you get into our world? Were you born in Georgia? Live in Georgia? How'd you get into this whole world?
Not at all. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
Originally went to Mizzou. And when I graduated, we were in a recession then, and a company that I got on with, I was an ag guy, so I got on with a feed mill company, and they transferred me down to Lawrenceville, Georgia, close to here. And it was a dirty, nasty job. I wanted to stay within my education somewhat. But I had neighbors that worked for a company that supplied building materials, and they had a very strong installed products division, which
Okay.
the specialties, which included the wire shelving, the doorknobs. We eventually got into garage doors, which I was a big part of. And then we were already, when I joined with them, they were already in the mirror and shower glass business.
Okay.
And we did built-in closets like California Closet. And, we were an excellent company, but we weren't good at all the trades. We weren't specialized in one thing, right?
You're vast. Yeah. It sounds like you're all over the place. Right.
Right. And so, basically they went bankrupt during the recession.
Okay.
And I had been there 20 years. But during that time, I was with Plymart, 1994. I recall, we had a customer that had heard of these frameless shower doors, and
Okay.
we had not heard of anything like this. I mean, that was way back,
Yeah.
So, I started doing a little homework, and you had to buy hardware from over here and other products over here, and you had to kind of piecemeal it together.
Right.
And I think back then even Sierra Lawrence was pretty early on with that development. So, basically, I thought, wow, these things are so expensive, they're so complicated. It's not going to ever become a big thing, right? It took 3 to 4 weeks to get the glass.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So, But, you know, as time went on, I mean, a few months later, got another request. And at that time, I got Home Depot Expo.
Okay.
I pitched them on it and got to be one of their vendors for the frameless shower doors. And, you know, so I became more specialized with the company I worked for. And
Nice.
so basically, when they went bankrupt, I had to figure out what I'm going to do. And I eventually ended up starting this business under Specialized Home Services,
Right.
thinking I would have specialties within the installed products. And it, you know, I only could concentrate on something like this, and that's what I focused on.
And what year did you start Shower Door Guy?
Officially, 2011, January 1st, 2011. I was already doing it 2010.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And so it's the same. It's when I started this. So nice. So there's some good karma there on that one too. So I like that. Congrats on that. And you're doing fantastic. It's exciting. You know, and I mean, what gets me is that when I met you, I think for the first time was after Glass Build, 2 years ago, Brad. I think we talked
Right.
outside at the tailgate at Glass Build.
Good
Um,
memory. Yeah.
and I love the fact that you had this energy about you and this positivity, and also what I liked is you really kind of gave that whole I'm betting on myself constantly sort of feel. And I like that. I like that. I'm a big fan of people like that. So that's why I think this is great. I'm getting to talk to you. Neat path. I like how you identified it. And it's funny how, if you think back when you were doing the everything under the house at the old company, it was 3-4 weeks or more to get glass. And now, now you guys are getting probably pressured to put in a shower door overnight. I can only imagine some of the requests you probably get. A pretty different world now, huh?
Yeah.
People don't understand what's involved, and it's a process, you know. So yeah, it takes a couple of weeks, really. I mean, to safely say we can have it installed in your home.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you get it. So let's and again, great company, showerdoorguy.com. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the world of the shower door guy, but I have to ask about the family business dynamic because as I explained, I was in one and so I'm really curious. And I think I've told the story a few times, but I'm 10 years younger than my brother, 12 younger than my sister. So they were already in the business with my dad. And they would come home and dinner time could be pretty contentious, especially if there was not a good day at work, and they were talking about either deliveries missed or problems on the floor, whatever the case may be. And my mother would always say her cue to change the subject was, "Hey, how's the weather? Let's talk about the weather," sort of thing. And that's how she would change it. And I'm like, I don't want to be with these lunatics. I don't want to be in this industry. And I got into it, and I mean, my brother is my hero. The guy's unbelievable, and everything he's accomplished. How's it gone with you guys, Christina? It's been a couple years. Has the dynamic changed? It seems like you guys work really seamlessly together.
Thanks.
For the most part.
Yeah, I think we do.
Yeah.
We work pretty well together.
No,
I just
Uh,
live to take control. So, I mean, you know, if I try to butt heads with her, then it won't work.
she is bringing those bona fides from Georgia Tech. I mean, she was running down those qualifications. It's pretty impressive, for sure.
Well, thank you. There's a lot I don't know, and there's a lot I can't do by myself. It's been a really humbling experience. And
Right.
I also really can't lift a lot of glass. So I have to rely on a lot of people, which is kind of new to me. I've never really loved doing that. And so I don't know. We work really well together though, and my dad is very kind to let me control things and bully him sometimes, and he'll bring me back down to earth, but in general, we're a really good team. So,
Well, Brad, I love it. I may need advice for trying to get one of my kids over the hump. My daughter did come to Glassbuild this year, and she did like it, but she's got a cushy job right now. I don't know if we can get her away from the cushy job to come join us in the glass industry, but may have to get some advice from you on your tactics there. So very cool. So let's talk shower door guy. Let's talk. Give me a rundown on what you guys specialize in, where your sweet spot is, the goods of the shower door guy, which you can find online, showerdoorguy.com. Great website.
Thanks. Yeah, again, the shower door thing is highly specialized. And of course, there's other things we want to branch into that are so related.
Right.
Um, you know, um, glass railings and stuff like that. We're having a hard time really penetrating that market. We get some onesie twosies right now.
Right.
But when COVID hit, it was a good opportunity. I wish we capitalized more, but we did quite a few office partition glass panels in
Sure.
people's homes so that they could work and not be distracted in the background with TV noise, dogs, and kids.
Right.
So great opportunity there. And wine cellars are becoming popular. That's so we're
Nice.
pushing that. And
Good.
so I don't know if that answered your
Is
question.
is it mostly the heavy, the all glass 3/8 half inch, or are there still people ordering 1/4 inch
No.
frame doors? So no more frame doors.
Well, very rare. I mean,
Okay.
it fills a niche. Somebody wants that frameless look and they have fiberglass shower.
Right.
You have to put in something that has a frame and lightweight enough to where it'll work.
Yeah, largely the cost of aluminum has gone up so much, it's not really a savings to anybody anymore. And people want that clean look and they want to be able to clean their shower really well. So frameless all the way, almost.
Like it. Low iron Starfire versus clear. Do you have a mix there? Or is one more popular than the other, or is it kind of a toss up?
It depends on the bathroom. We're selling tons of low iron glass. We use White, but we like Starfire too. It's just what our fabrication facility carries. But we present both. We certainly have an upgrade charge for that, but
Sure.
great pricing on it, and people love it. So it just depends on the circumstance, but we're selling a lot of it.
Nice.
I'd say at least 20%.
At least, yeah.
Probably closer to 25% is White.
Yeah.
It is, when you see it next to each other for at least a shower door, it is striking, that edge, I mean, it does kind of make it, it's almost like I compare it to, how the old fashioned light bulbs that were yellow, and now you go to the ones that are more bright white, and more, almost give off that cool white. And that's how the shower would look too. So very nice, very nice. I was always curious about that. And sadly at my at my house, this is so embarrassing. We moved in 2001. We have an old frameless shower door, and I have not upgraded yet. And that's because I'm not near somebody like you to hire. I have no good shower people up here. So when you expand to Michigan.
Amazing. I would think you'd have connections.
Everywhere I go, I have no connections. I need to move to places with connections. That's for sure. So I like it. I like it. I'm with Christina Elia and Brad Leamon. He's the president. She's the director of business development. The Shower Door Guy. They're in Georgia. Great website, showerdoorguy.com. And speaking of online, one of the places I got involved in, and I know you guys are involved in, is the Shower Door Professionals on Facebook. Chris Phillips, who's a tremendous human being, great person. It's just an amazing group, and I speak positively about it all over. But what sort of an effect has it had on you guys, and just having that kind of peer group at your fingertips?
It's incredible. I mean, what Chris has created is absolutely incredible. It's given us the confidence to know that when we're doing the right things. It's given us the confidence to try new things and ask questions about all of that. We've met a lot of great people. We get a heck of a lot more out of Glassfield by, meeting our friends, meeting up with them, saying, what booths are you guys going to? And
Right.
having dinners and chatting about it. We just get so much out of it by all of us combined. And Max, I mean, depending on where you're located, I'm sure we have a friend in that group who could help you out with a frameless shower door. So
we're gonna have to throw that question out on Wednesday night. Is there anybody in the Detroit area that wants to help me out? So that we'll have to put that up there. But I'm a big fan, and it's like you said, you meet the people in person. And I think that's the coolest thing, is that now you have that peer group online. You guys are talking all the time, and then you meet and compare some notes, and it just helps your business. I got to feel that it's like been a good thing to lean on.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So speaking of that, you guys are in the middle of creating or working on a co-op. And I'm curious on how it's going, where you're at in the process. I know, Christina, you had asked me at Glassbuild, hey, what do I know? How, do I have any thoughts? And I gave you a few very menial thoughts, but I know from talking to others, you're moving full speed ahead. What's going on with the co-op? How's life there? What's the progress?
Well, again, she's taking control. Okay, so
Hey,
I'll
perfect.
speak on that.
Well, so for anyone listening who doesn't know what a cooperative is, a couple of great examples of a cooperative are like Ace Hardware is a cooperative.
I
Those
did
are,
not know that. I did not
yeah,
know that.
those are independently owned. It looks kind of like a franchise because they have the Ace brand name, but it's an independently owned and operated business with that Ace branding to give that trust and everything to the brand. But also REI is a
Okay.
cooperative, so that, if you pay your membership due $20 a year, you're a member of that. And so cooperatives are made up of individual, independently owned companies who buy in, they buy a share, for example.
Okay.
One share for one company is one vote, and all of the members get, a say in how this whole business entity is run. And the reason for that is we're all, relatively small businesses, but successful and impactful. And by our powers combined, we can do a lot of great things. And that could be things like marketing,
Right.
could pool our resources and get better deals on nationwide marketing. And that's really how it started. When we
Right.
start talking about it is, how do we compete against big box stores like Home Depot and Lowe's? If you search for frameless shower doors,
Yeah.
they come first, and people don't know that there are specialists in this industry, and maybe that's what they want, but they don't even realize it because that presence isn't there because we're all smaller guys, maybe not
Sure.
spending money on advertising.
Max, when I started out, probably a couple of years after that, I remember approaching Costco. I never set my sights too low. That's how I got Home Depot Expo, right?
Yep. Yep.
But I talked to somebody at Costco, and the lady just point blank said, if you can't cover nationally, no, it doesn't work. And so when you exit at Costco after shopping, you have all those kiosks
Yeah.
as you exit the store. And that's why I kind of thought, well, what if I could have a kiosk here locally? Well, it doesn't work that way. And so one of the things that I thought about was, what if we could group together and form a marketing co-op? If we could get this network on a national level, then, we could go approach like somebody like a Costco,
Sure.
whatever, but it gives us power, and so we kind of create an entity that we all buy into, and then we can, strengthen our marketing efforts.
And other things, we can work together for things like negotiating rates on insurance.
Right.
And building training on shower door installations, because the NGA has a lot of good stuff. They have my glass class, and they just came out with the shower door installation guidebook manual, but there's so much more. And with labor shortages in the trades, having that access to training and everything, so you can deal with your turnover a little more gracefully.
Yeah.
We can do all of these things, and we can even talk to vendors about, special promotions or whatever for members, and it's just all kinds of things. It's endless opportunities here. So
Yeah, we're kind of the residential or the homeowner end user arm of the NGA, if you will.
Right.
The professionals get training from the National Glass Association, but if a homeowner wants information, they can come to us, and then we will have blogs and stuff like a blog library and so on.
Yes.
And so forth.
And it's not just sometimes homeowners will look at people like us and think, okay, it's my truck in a truck saying your shower door is going to leak, or your shower door leaks or whatever, and it's just how it is. and obviously that's not how we talk to customers, and that's not how it is, but having that backing from a national entity that says, I'm certified in this,
Right.
or I've had training from this, I have this check mark, I have this backing, I have this blog article, we have these resources that say we're speaking the truth.
Yeah,
That's
tons of advantages, tons of advantages. So how's it going? I know this has been an ongoing process. Are you feel like you're making some good inroads? I mean, what are you feeling like at this point?
It's
yeah.
moving along very fast, I think, and still a lot to go. A lot of bylaws and that sort of thing, and of course.
We're making great,
Christina.
yeah, we're making great progress. It's not a lot that we've been able to come out with concretely and share with a lot of people, because every piece kind of has to move together. And so, slowly but surely we're getting the logos created, we're getting the website created, we're getting the
Great.
bylaws written, we're speaking with lawyers and CPAs and all kinds of, we're getting the hype ready on our Wednesday call. We're trying to hype everyone up
Good.
about it and, share what we can when we can. And, but we meet every week, and we're dedicating as much time to this as we are able to. And I think it's really going to rock the industry in the best possible way.
Fantastic. And you're doing it you're building the foundation, and I wouldn't expect anything less from you guys for the way you've built your company, and now helping with a lot of good people in that group to build something good nationwide. So that's exciting. And the other thing that I'm laughing about and thinking about, talking about training and labor, we're not at the point yet where you can send a robot into a home and install that shower enclosure. So we need that human capital, and they need to be trained, and so doing some of these things that you're doing, definitely more than just a marketing effort, for sure. Very cool. A couple more questions for Christina Elia and Brad Leamon. They're from the Shower Door Guy, showerdoorguy.com, and I'm going to mix it up. Fun one. At this point, I'm always looking for TV shows, and I figure I get two guests this time, so I could get two different, hopefully, groups of recommendations. Any favorite all-time shows, and then are you watching anything now I should check out? Brad, I'll start with you.
Wow. I don't watch a lot of TV. I do. I get home late and then I just watch whatever my wife is watching. But we used to watch Big Bang Theory.
Nice. Yep.
And of course, I've seen all the episodes multiple times, so I can repeat some of the lines.
I like it.
What I've very impressed with that show is the facial expressions when, it's really their delivery more than anything. And you have to pay attention to that, or if you're just on your phone and listening, you don't get it,
I do have that up on at times when I'm on the treadmill, so I do like that. So good choice. Good choice.
And luckily, Max, I
Yeah.
got to go see a taping of it.
Really?
That
Neat.
was really cool. So somehow, some way, an ex-girlfriend of Chuck Lorre.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. The producer, and
yeah.
done a lot of those shows. Yes.
She paid my wife tickets because she couldn't go. And so my wife and I went with my sisters, and we had like the best seats in the house.
Wow. How was it? Because they bring out like a warm-up act to get you guys into the mood and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How was it? How was it?
Oh, it was great, and that warm-up act really gets everybody primed, that's for sure,
Nice.
and they're looking for people who have a funny laugh.
Yeah.
Of course, my sister pointed to me, he has a crazy laugh, and of course, I couldn't replicate it, it's on the spot, couldn't do it.
Oh, but that's cool. It's like one of your all-time favorites, and you get to see it in person. That is very cool. Very cool. I will watch that show differently now. I like that. Christina, from you?
I'm sorry to disappoint, but I don't watch a lot of TV.
No.
I guess my all-time favorite is Ted Lasso. I just like the positive energy, and my husband plays soccer. And he's watching Yellowstone right now, but that is so dramatic, and I just can't sit through it. It's just too dramatic. We have enough drama in our lives.
Yes, I can imagine. And Ted Lasso, fantastic. The first couple seasons, that first season was wonderful. And talk about positivity. Yeah, no, it fits. That fits. It's very cool. I like that. You guys did not disappoint at all. I like it. Good choices and good flavor there. And I got the bonus that Brad was actually on set with that whole gang from Big Bang Theory. So that is so cool. Very cool. All right, let's get back to the serious stuff because I'll get in trouble otherwise because I'll start really down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Trends. I love asking trends of everybody kind of I talk to because everyone runs in different worlds. What are you guys seeing as your hot trends? You mentioned, you're trying to get heavier into the railings and kind of work that out. But what are some of the trends you're seeing that, hey, we need to get more of, or wow, this is going to be something that's hot?
Wow.
Great question. It's hard to tell what's going to be a trend and what's going to last a long time and what's
Right.
really just fleeting. But bigger glass. Everyone wants
Oh, yeah.
bigger glass, and that's
They take out the tub,
Wow.
and then they expand that thing. We've had numerous showers that are anywhere from about 100 inches wide to almost 144.
well, we've done 151, I think is our widest at this point.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, a header bar doesn't even stretch that long. So it's just, it's outrageous.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of room. I mean, are they setting up like bleachers in there to relax? I mean, it's just
Yeah, it's, they're wet rooms. Okay, so
uh,
there's a trend, wet rooms.
yeah.
So they put the tub and a lot of, it's a wet area.
Yeah.
Is the way they
So the wet room and the larger glass and the larger spans are taking off. Do you think HGTV and people seeing this stuff on TV probably gives them this inspiration, or is it something else?
Definitely. And we even joke in the shower door professionals group, what's the Pinterest of the week kind of
Yeah,
thing,
right.
Yeah.
This past week it was reeded or fluted glass. Everyone is wanting and asking for that, and we've heard 3 or 4 manufacturing facilities are actually bringing it in when they haven't had it before.
Wow.
For shower glass. And that's pretty neat. I like it, but I think that will be a fleeting trend. I don't think that's going to last very long.
Yeah, because to me that almost leans back to the old obscures that nobody, that they kind of want in theory, and then in reality they get it and they don't like it. And then they're stuck with it. The Pattern 62, the Aquatex Rain sort of thing. I think even though they've been around, I think most people end up with them and they don't like it. The Read It is interesting to me as an old fabricator because it's a pain to temper. It's a hard to temper. It's gotten a little easier because of the different manufacturing, but it's a tough one to temper. So it makes it tough on the showers. But
It's tough to probably cut too. I mean, I'm sure that's very tough to cut.
it depending on the reeds, yeah, absolutely. It's a challenge on the cutting, and so it is definitely a little different, but interesting. Very, and the size is an interesting market too. And I like that you'd said earlier about the wine cellars. I just think people want natural light in their homes now and in their businesses. And so the days of wooden walls or dry walls, I think, are going away because you're seeing. I see it whether it's in the Shower Door Professional Group or on Glazer Nation, lots of glass stairs. Which scares the heck out of me. I'm a glass guy. I do not want glass stairs. I mean, I just do not want them. But they look great. I mean, and they allow the light to come in.
Yeah.
Well, and houses are smaller, so having more open spaces inside give that roomy feel.
Yeah.
That's important.
Do you do mirror at all? Do you guys install mirror?
Unfortunately, we do mirror and we do fun projects with mirror.
Okay.
It's obviously fragile and people want big mirrors too. And
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're also retail, and like if you're new construction, home builders understand leave an inch off each side or a couple inches off each side.
Right.
Homeowners think everything should be fitting the entire opening. So now you have these.
Tight.
Yeah, and it's like you have to educate them. Oh no, I want it tight, and it's dangerous, right? So I don't know. I like the trend of not having plate mirror
Right.
vanities anyway, and having framed mirrors, which
Yeah.
we can accommodate.
The frame mirrors with the lighting in them, I think, are fabulous.
Oh yeah.
I think those are spectacular. They're framed in the lighting, and I mean, I think that's the way to go.
It's pretty cool too, and we have access to those, but a lot of times it's easier for homeowners to just buy them on Amazon because they have more options and things. I don't want to
Right.
talk ourselves out of the sale, but
No,
we're
but
like
it's sensible. Yeah.
yeah, but what's cool about those is the electrical component inside heats the mirror so that it doesn't fog up when you're in the shower. It has that anti-fog capability, which I think that's brilliant. And honestly, it gets us out of the mirror, all the
Sure.
mirror crap that we run
I
into.
love it. You're
Yeah.
dead on, dead on. Very
You
cool,
know,
very cool.
the other trends, Max, I think
Please.
are the weird finishes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and a negative trend is probably oil rub bronze. So we don't have a lot of orders for oil rub bronze, but black is definitely strong, you
Yeah.
know, so. But we get the weird finishes, so we're doing a lot of powder coating now.
Wow. So that does change things. How do you handle a powder coated sort of order? You have to do a one off, or do you have to buy a whole bunch? I mean, how does that work for you?
One off.
One
Wow,
off.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it's all really specific. I mean, I think Kohler just came out with a rose gold finish,
Oh,
and
wow.
C.R. Lawrence just discontinued polished copper, which I don't know that it completely would have matched, but it would have been at least a little close.
Yeah.
Now we're having to, really customize, and I think really the trend that's lasting is people want custom options. Everyone wants something different than their neighbor. Everyone wants the most custom thing. So as custom as they can get, and as long as you have
Feels
the,
that way.
it feels that way. So as long as you have those vendor relationships,
Yeah.
as long as you know where to go for things and what's possible, I mean, that's where things are going.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. That's exciting. That at least you're staying on top of it. I'm glad you brought that up, Brad, about the hardware. I mean, it's oil rub bronze though. It always freaks me out because it seems like it runs out. Like people are out of stock on it like every 10 days. It seems like so.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So at least in my view, but I'm not in it day to day like you guys are. So you're on top of it. Plus, you guys are good. So you're taking care of all the logistics and procurement issues. I love it. One more question for Christina Elia and Brad Leamon, shower door guy, showerdoorguy.com. Let's talk about 2024. We're a couple months in. How's it going, and how do you think the rest of the year is going to turn out? It's an adventurous year. We all know this is definitely one of those weird years for United States and North America overall with the election and everything. But
Sure.
how's the year going so far, and what are you expecting the rest of the way?
Well, it started off a little slow, I would say,
Okay.
which to me is kind of unusual, even though last year was a little slow starting off as well.
We're definitely up from last year in Virginia. And I think a lot of it has to do with just economic uncertainty, high interest rates, but Atlanta's a hot market.
Yeah.
Atlanta is super hot, and a lot of people are moving here from California, New York, DC, Chicago, and a lot of people who are from here or live here can't afford new homes. So
Right.
people are aging in place, and remodeling as they're able to, and so that's a lot of our business, so
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but
No, I just think our marketing efforts are working well. We take a lot of care into making sure our website is the way it needs to be and it's marketable. And I think part of our challenge was over about a year ago or a little more than a year ago, Google changed the way they did the algorithms and so people were finding us very easily all over town before.
Right.
And now it's like they made it more geocentric, so it's been a little more challenging.
Yeah.
But we've had to invest in some, marketing in that regard.
Yeah, I noticed more and more on Google. I'll do a search, and then the pop-up box from Google will come on and say, "Do you want something closer to you?" And so that's what of course is now working against you guys, because normally somebody might be in Gwinnett County and or I don't know exactly where you guys are compared to that, and they may just click that button and all of a sudden your search just goes away, and you would have done that job 2 years ago. So
Sure.
yeah,
in some ways it's okay because obviously we love jobs that are close to us,
sure.
but in other ways we're in Norcross and more of an industrial area, although we're very close to very nice areas. But it does take us away from the west side of town or the south side of town or, more very far north. So all to say, things are going really well. And this year we're able to actually focus on our advertising and marketing a lot more in ways that we haven't had to before. And I don't know, it's been great.
Good. Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling. You're on a roll, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. So keep this all going. And I get to see you guys at GPAD Glass Processing Days in Nashville, and so by the time some people listen to this, that may have passed. Some people may be on their way there. So it'll be exciting to see you guys in person again. Other than my yearly getting to see you at Glass Build. So I look forward to seeing you here soon.
Yeah, we can't wait. It'll be great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brad Leamon, Christina Elia. They are from the Shower Door Guy, great company, showerdoorguy.com. Thanks so much for being on the podcast, and great luck with the co-op. It's going to be fantastic. I think when that launches and goes like full scale, we'll have to have you and others back on the pod so you can explain it and celebrate it. So congrats on all of that, and congrats on just what you're doing out there. Keep jamming. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, Max.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Brad and Christina, and earlier Aaron. A lot of fun on today's podcast, and thank you everyone for listening. As always, this is brought to you by myglassclass.com from the NGA, the National Glass Association. Check that out, myglassclass.com. As always, I talk about some TV here at the end, and if you listen to the Brad and Christina, we talk some TV there. My TV choices for this podcast, show on Netflix. If this is your sort of style, Griselda. It's a true story. Now, there is some questions on whether or not the Netflix application held close to the story. I have one more episode or two more episodes to go, so I haven't looked up what was done correctly versus incorrectly, but it's been pretty good watch. If you like the Narcos sort of drama, this is in that genre. So check that out, Griselda on Netflix. And so, we'll see how that all turns out in two more episodes. But anyway, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Depending on when you watch and listen to this, we may have seen each other at GPAD and BEC, and I hopefully got to say hi. Again, thank you for your support there. Thank you to the myglassclass.com and the NGA for their support, and we will see you next month.
Oh, the music is stopped.